On January the 18th, 2022, Microsoft announced that they were they were about to acquire Activision Blizzard. That announcement no doubt sent shockwaves throughout the gaming industry. Now, Sony didn't want to be outdone. So what did they do? Well, on July the 15th, they announced that they were acquiring Bungie. Now, this, at the moment, a lot of pundits and a lot of PlayStation fans were saying that this was a strategic move, buying Microsoft's old star studio Bungie. This was a very calculated move here by Sony. I remember the PlayStation community saying that this isn't, Sony is playing chess, not checkers with Microsoft. Well, as the time went on, we realized that Sony was not playing checkers or chess. Instead, they were playing chutes and ladders. Because so far, Bungie has assisted Sony in giving the PlayStation community nothing but, this video would summarize what I'm saying. No wonder why all these ponies' coats are so shiny. I was wondering what they were doing with their coats. It just so happened to be all that poop water they have been bathing with. So yes, it's an understatement to say that PlayStation's strategy to have all these games as a service has failed. It's terrible. Sony thought that they would have been cooking. Granny, could you please tell Sony that they can't cook? They're going to kill someone?
Is it good, Granny?
Who told you you could cook? So you can't cook worth a damn, girl.
Well, if I'd have known that, I wouldn't be cooking your food, honey.
Well, I had to survive a little bit on something.
Damn! I'm sorry.
Well, thanks for being honest with me, Granny.
Yeah, somebody need to be honest with you before you kill somebody.
I've been telling these ponies that, man, these ponies are malnourished, they are dazed, and right now they are hungry because Sony is not providing them with any good games. But while everyone is angry at this point in time for Sony, trying to do this game as a service strategy, there's one pony who will not be backing down. Yes, one pony who will defend Sony, don't matter what. And that pony name is Jimmy Neutron.
He made them make 12 live service games. There can't be. Now you're just speaking in falsehood. He didn't make them do anything. That is a lie. There was an increase in budgetary spending for live service games, and they allow studios to pitch live service games to then bring them to the market. Nobody was forced to do anything. That's another lie propagated by people that are interested in a console war that's over. There is no narrative here of like Jim Ryan ruined PlayStation or he forced people to make live service games.
No, Jimmy, it seems like you are the liar. Now, if what Jim Ryan did didn't hurt Sony, if it was all good in the hood for Jim Ryan, then why did the new CEO after Jim Ryan left cut back on games as a service? If the games as a service push by Jim Ryan was so accepted, then they would have not cut back the funding for it. They would have not cut back the games. Not only did games as a service cost Sony when it comes to the production of first-party AAA games, but it also bled money. That's a fact. That's not my opinion. We can see it in the cadence of games coming to the PlayStation. We can see it. Now, this is simple enough that a 3-year-old could understand. Now, what would you say about that, Jimmy?
Titles, and they've done MLB The Show, which is an annual commitment and licensed game. That's live service. They've done Gran Turismo 7. They've done Helldivers 2. And then, well, Foam Stars was Square Enix. That was not something that they were doing. That wasn't from their studios. They did Concord. And Marathon is not a PlayStation effort. That is something that Bungie was working on before the acquisition. Bungie was acquired and allowed to operate independently, meaning that has nothing to do with PlayStation's live service effort.
Jimmy, you are not being consistent. You are saying that Sony is not responsible for Marathon because they would have acquired Bungie while they were making Marathon. But you didn't have the same energy when Microsoft would have acquired Bethesda and they were well along, would have made Redfall. Do you remember who you said it looked bad on, that the Redfall ran at 30 FPS, knowing fully well that Microsoft was not responsible for Redfall running at 30 FPS? Do you remember who you said is to blame or who it looks bad for? Listen to yourself.
Down to one platform and it's still not ready, and it's not even going to launch complete. You're going to launch it without performance mode on a next-gen console. This is generally true and supported by testimony of other developers. When you're building a game for just one system, it tends to make things easier. They talk about it making the games easier to optimize, and you end up with better games. So what happened with Redfall? In light of his comments, what's the real issue here? And the call for another delay from the very same people who were just doing a round of PR celebrating how great the game is? The optics on this are terrible. At every level, this looks bad. It looks bad on Microsoft ownership of Bethesda, and it reinforces concerns over the ABK deal. It looks bad on Xbox, given that this is supposed to be one of the first big titles for the platform and for Game Pass this year. It looks bad for all the content creators and the outlets who went to bat for this game after the Capture event, and more on that in a minute. It's bad for every single Xbox Series X owner who bought this system for next-gen performance. And if you don't think this looks bad, then you haven't been paying attention. Aaron...
So Jimmy, if you blamed Microsoft for Redfall, although Microsoft would have acquired Bethesda while Redfall was almost finished, well then guess what? You have to also blame Sony for how Marathon is turning out, for how Fear Games is turning out. They are the ones in control, so they are the ones to be blamed. And don't give me no foolish story about they made a deal with Sony that they didn't have to have complete control of their games. That's a stupid deal, and that's not a gamer's problem. Sony made that idiotic deal, so they are the ones who are suffering for it. So, I mean, let's be consistent here, Jimmy.
Marathon is not one of their initiatives. It's a Bungie initiative that PlayStation inherited when they bought them. But they weren't like, hey, make Marathon and make an extraction shot.
What a hypocrite. So as Jimmy continues to defend Sony, don't matter what they do, we are going to look and see how damaging these games as a service was for Sony, because it appears that another game just might be delayed. So sit back, relax. Let's get it.
This is a sickness!
Let's get it. What we do on this channel is that we try to put a smile on your face, at the same time informing you about what is the latest on Xbox. We sprinkle a little Nintendo there, and we discipline the PlayStation community, the ponies as we call them. So if this type of content interests you, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button today. Now let's get back to the program. So how bad is PlayStation's attempt on games as a service? Well, we know what occurred with Concord. We know what is happening with Marathon currently. Well, now we have even more bad news for PlayStation attempt on games as a service. Listen to this.
Marathon is currently in a tough spot, with negative news seemingly being reported at every stop. Via a new report, it's being shared that paid marketing efforts for Marathon have been scrapped entirely. That report echoes previous information about marketing having the plug pulled before a supposed June trailer. With the game set for a September launch, a delay has become increasingly more likely. Ever since PlayStation and Bungie held their major gameplay reveal for Marathon back in April, things have seemingly gone downhill at every stop. To start, in the initial hours following the marathon presentation, Bungie had to respond to concerns about the game's still unreported pricing. Then, it was revealed that the game won't have proximity chat, a key feature of extraction shooters. If that wasn't enough, Bungie scrapped the closed alpha NDA requirement following mixed responses to the game. And if all of that wasn't enough, then an artist accused Bungie of plagiarizing her artwork, a claim that Bungie confirmed was true. As a result, morale is in a free fall, according to a recent report, with employees describing the environment surrounding the live service title as actively hostile. All of that has put Marathon, a game that will reportedly need to be one of 2025's top 5 best-selling games to be considered a success, in a bad spot. Now, further reporting has suggested that things have only gotten worse. As first reported by the Game Post, paid marketing for Marathon has apparently been canceled altogether. The information was first relayed by ex-IGN editor and current PlayStation podcaster Colin Moriarty, who reported the information via a person familiar with marketing. I was told by someone familiar with marketing plans in a key overseas market that there are now no plans to do paid marketing for Marathon at all. Moriarty reportedly said, "I don't know if those plans were affected by what has recently happened or if that was always the plan or whatever. But it is considered a fairly unusual move for a game of this high profile." Moriarty's reporting echoes what Paul Tassi of Forbes reported a week ago, that Bungie had pulled the plug on the main marketing plan for Marathon, which would have reportedly included a trailer next month, along with the opening of pre-orders to gamers. Those plans are apparently being reworked. The developments have created a scenario in which Marathon could potentially be delayed from its planned September launch. Both Sony and Bungie cannot afford another bomb, and the environment surrounding the game is getting more and more negative.
So it's very clear, Sony did a terrible job managing their games as a service. Sony did a terrible job making sure that these games come out, working well. These games come out working to a point where their fans would enjoy playing these styles of games. And because of it, we are seeing this happening today. So as the gaming industry starts to change, as we see prices going up, as we see these companies trying to focus more on games as a service, one thing is for certain, Xbox fans are eating good.
Go, my son. Hey. Go, Juju.
So let me hear what you think. Do you think Sony could turn things around? Do you think that this thing is just a disaster? We are hearing Fear Games are in problem. We're now hearing Marathon is in problem. What do you think? Let me know in the comment sections below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.